Okay, folks, get ready because today we're going deep on a topic that's always on the table.
Bread?
You got it, bread.
Yeah.
You've sent us a whole bunch of articles on bread. Everything from, its place in different cultures to its effects on our bodies.
It seems like you're really trying to decide, should bread be a part of my diet or should I try to avoid it?
Yeah.
And we've got some interesting sources for this. We've got medical advice about fasting, cultural perspectives on bread consumption,
Right.
even some personal stories about bread.
It's like a whole buffet of bread information.
The smorgasbord of bread information, exactly.
Are you ready to uncover the mysteries of bread?
Let's do it.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll know whether it's a friend or foe at the dinner table.
Okay.
One thing that really jumped out at me was this idea of like a blood sugar roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really vivid image.
Sure.
But what does it actually mean?
Well, think about what happens when you eat refined white bread.
Okay.
You know, the kind that we often see in supermarkets. It gets broken down into sugar really quickly.
Ah.
And that leads to a spike in your blood sugar levels.
Okay.
This spike gives you a quick burst of energy,
Right.
but then it's followed by a crash, and that leaves you feeling sluggish and craving more sugary foods.
It's like when you eat a donut, you're on a sugar high, and then you're like
Exactly.
bragging.
That's a great analogy.
And one of the things that one of the Arabic sources that you shared suggests delaying bread consumption. So
Yeah.
you eat other things first, and then you have the bread at the end, and that might actually help avoid that big spike and crash.
Yeah, it's like a buffer.
So bread at the end of the meal could be a game changer.
Yeah, it could be.
That's really interesting.
Or-
It almost sounds like a mini fasting strategy.
You're really onto something there, because a lot of the articles you sent delve into this world of fasting, including one in Arabic called ЛИКЕ, which means ideal health.
Right.
And some of the benefits of fasting actually relate directly back to bread.
So skipping that pre-dinner roll could be like a mini fast.
It could be.
Tell me more about the benefits of fasting.
Well,
I know the Ideal Health article lists quite a few.
yeah, there are 8
8.
potential benefits.
Even something about longevity.
Yeah, that one really stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's interesting is that fasting triggers something called autophagy.
Okay.
Autophagy is like spring cleaning for your body. Your cells actually get rid of old damaged parts and they regenerate.
Oh, wow.
So this cellular renewal might actually explain the link between fasting and a longer, healthier lifespan.
Hold on. Autophagy. That sounds pretty complicated. Can you
Yes,
break that down for me and for our listener?
Of course. So think about it this way. Our cells are constantly working.
Yeah.
Just like any machine, they accumulate waste over time.
Right.
Autophagy is the body's way of clearing out that cellular junk.
Okay.
It's a natural recycling process that keeps our cells functioning optimally.
So by giving our bodies a break from constantly digesting food, we're giving our cells a chance to clean house
Exactly.
and potentially live longer.
Potentially.
It's like hitting the reset button.
That's a great way to put it.
And this all ties back to our bread discussion.
Right.
When we're eating refined carbs like white bread, our blood sugar spikes.
Uh-huh.
And our bodies are constantly in that digestion mode.
They are.
But fasting or even just delaying bread consumption allows for those periods of lower blood sugar.
Right.
And that could potentially trigger autophagy
It could.
and give our cells a chance to renew.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is getting really interesting.
Sure.
But let's be honest, bread, it's a staple for a lot of people.
For a lot of people, yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love a warm, crusty loaf of bread?
Right.
So the big question is, should we dish bread entirely?
Well, another article you shared is
Yeah.
which means the benefits of abstaining from bread
Okay.
tackles this question head on. It really dives into both the potential downsides of bread, especially the processed white variety, but it also looks at the benefits of whole grain options.
So it's not about banishing all bread.
Not necessarily.
There's a difference between those refined white loaves and a slice of whole grain bread.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It comes down to something called refined carbs.
All right.
These are carbs that have been processed
Okay.
and they've been stripped of their fiber and nutrients. Refined carbs, like those found in white bread, are digested really quickly,
Right.
leading to those blood sugar spikes we talked about.
So that's the connection?
Yeah.
Refined carbs are the culprits
Yeah.
behind the blood sugar roller coaster.
That's right.
So what's so different about whole grains?
Well, whole grains still have their fiber,
Okay.
and fiber slows down digestion,
Right.
and it helps regulate your blood sugar levels.
So you avoid that dramatic spike and crash?
Yeah, think of it like a buffer
Okay.
that helps your body process the carbs more slowly.
Got it. So it's not necessarily about going completely bread-free, but it's about making informed choices about the types of bread we consume.
That's right.
Right.
And it's all about balance.
Yeah.
Regardless of your choice about bread, the key is to focus on a balanced diet with plenty of whole, unprocessed foods.
Now, I have to admit, when I was reading that article about abstaining from bread, I was a little worried it was going to be all doom and gloom.
Sure.
But they actually had some really creative alternatives to bread.
Oh, yeah?
They mentioned things like egg buns, veggie pizzas, using lettuce leaves as wraps.
Yeah.
Some of those sound pretty delicious.
They do sound good.
What do you think?
I think it's great that they highlighted those alternatives.
Yeah.
Because it shows that even if you choose to reduce your bread intake, you can still enjoy similar flavors and textures.
Yeah. Right.
It's about finding what works for you and your dietary needs.
Exactly. And it's also important to acknowledge that, bread, it holds a really important place in many cultures.
Yeah.
It's not just about the nutritional aspects.
Right.
There's a whole cultural and emotional dimension to it as well.
You bring up a great point.
Yeah.
The Arabic sources you shared really reflect that cultural significance of bread in a lot of societies.
Yeah.
Food isn't just about fuel. It's about tradition, connection, enjoyment.
Right.
That's something we need to keep in mind when we're making dietary choices.
So we've covered a lot here.
Yeah.
We've talked about the blood sugar roller coaster, the potential benefits of fasting, the difference between refined carbs and whole grains. We even touched on some creative bread alternatives.
We did.
So with all of this information, what's resonating most with you so far?
I think what's really striking is how empowering knowledge can be.
Okay.
We're not just blindly following trends or accepting what we've always been told. We're breaking down the science.
Right.
Understanding how different types of bread affect our bodies, and we're exploring alternatives.
Yeah.
You now have the power to decide what role bread plays in your life, if any.
Absolutely. It's all about making informed choices that align with our individual needs and preferences.
Exactly.
Before we go any further, I wanted to go back to something you said about the cultural significance of bread.
Oh, yeah.
It got me thinking.
Sure.
We've been, talking about the science and the health aspects.
Right.
But food, especially bread,
Yeah.
it often carries so much more meaning.
You're right. It's a symbol of hospitality.
Yeah.
Warmth sharing.
Yeah.
Often at the center of,
Family meals.
family meals.
Celebrations.
It's like that aroma of freshly baked bread
Oh, yeah.
that fills your kitchen, and it just makes everything
Comfort.
homey.
Yeah.
And one of the Arabic articles you shared captures that feeling so beautifully.
Yeah.
It's called Exu Esusuch. Exusuch. Yeah. Exu Osu,
Okay.
which means benefits of abstaining from bread and fasting. A comprehensive overview.
All right.
And there's a section in there that talks about bread being connected to family traditions
Right.
and a sense of belonging.
It makes you realize that food is more than just sustenance.
It really is.
It connects us to our past, our families, our culture.
Our identity.
Yeah.
It's incredible how deeply food is woven into our lives.
But even with all this history and tradition,
Yeah.
we can't ignore the fact that, our understanding of health and nutrition, it's constantly evolving.
That's true.
So how do we reconcile these cherished traditions
Right.
with this new knowledge that we have about making healthy choices?
I think it starts with awareness.
Okay.
We can appreciate the cultural significance of bread
Yeah.
while also making conscious choices that, support our health goals.
So maybe adapting those traditions.
Right. The Japanese.
Rather than abandoning them.
Yeah.
Like maybe trying out some of those creative bread alternatives.
It's exactly.
Like the egg buns, the veggie pizzas, the lettuce wraps from that Incarnatier article.
That's right.
Do you think those can really satisfy those bread cravings?
I mean, it's worth experimenting.
Yeah.
It's easy to get stuck in our routines, right?
Right. So trying to see those alternatives as a culinary adventure might make it more fun.
Right.
You might be surprised at how much you enjoy them.
Yeah, instead of focusing on what we're giving up,
Yeah.
we can focus on all these new flavors and experiences that we might gain.
Exactly. And it's not just about finding substitutes for bread itself.
Okay.
It's about, expanding our culinary horizons.
Right.
Embracing a wider variety of foods.
So instead of building our meals around bread,
Uh-huh.
we could think about incorporating more vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats,
Yes. Those are all fantastic options.
like those colorful salads or hearty soups and stews.
Exactly.
This makes me think about another benefit of fasting that was mentioned in the Ideal Health article.
Oh, yeah.
Improved digestion.
Yeah, when we give our digestive systems a break from constantly processing food,
Right.
it can work more efficiently.
Like giving our gut a chance to reset.
Exactly. A reset and recharge.
And a healthy gut is crucial for our overall well-being.
Yeah.
It really is. It affects our immune system, our mood, even our cognitive function.
Wow. So it's all interconnected.
It is.
The food we choose to eat or not eat can really impact our whole body.
The ripple effect.
Yeah.
So as you continue to think about your relationship with bread, just remember, it's a multifaceted issue.
Yeah.
It's about cultural, significant individual needs.
Right.
Finding that balance that works for you.
So let's say I'm on board with all of these insights.
Okay.
What are some practical tips for navigating, the world of bread?
Sure.
Let's say I'm at the grocery store. I'm looking at the bread aisle.
Okay.
What should I be looking for?
Well, remember our conversation about refined carbs versus whole grains.
Right.
That's where your label reading skills come in.
Okay, so whole grains are key. But when you're at the store, it can be like a jungle of choices.
Yeah.
What are some quick tips?
Yeah, look for breads that list whole grain as the first ingredient.
Okay.
That's usually a good sign.
Okay.
And also pay attention to added sugars. You might be surprised how much sugar is in some breads.
Wow. Okay, so whole grain first, and keep an eye out for those sneaky sugars.
Yep.
I'm starting to feel like a bread detective.
That's good. That's good.
What about when you're not in control of the bread situation? Like you're at a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And that tempting bread basket lands on the table.
Right.
What do you do?
You know, one of your sources actually suggested this.
What's that?
Ask the server to take the bread basket away.
Yeah. Or just get rid of it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
I like it. Okay, but what if you do decide to have some bread? Are there strategies for not going overboard?
Absolutely. Instead of just mindlessly eating slice after slice, practice mindful eating.
Okay.
So pause before you take a bite. Savor the flavor. Really pay attention to your body's cues.
Right.
Are you actually hungry, or are you just eating out of habit?
That reminds me of something we talked about earlier, that mindful eating. That was highlighted in the Abstaining EFN article.
Yes. Health benefits. Abstaining from bread and fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about slowing down, being present with your food.
Right.
Really appreciating the experience.
So instead of, just scarfing down a sandwich on the go, take your time, sit down.
Minimize distractions.
Savor each bite.
Exactly.
It's amazing how just a little shift in mindset can change our relationship with food.
For sure.
And this applies whether you're eating bread or any other food, right?
Absolutely. Mindful eating is a great tool for making healthier choices. And remember, it's a practice, not about being perfect.
Right. We all slip up.
We do.
But we just keep practicing.
Exactly.
Speaking of practice, let's talk about the home kitchen.
Okay.
One of the articles suggested experimenting with other whole grains like quinoa, brown rice oats.
These are all great alternatives to refined grains.
Yeah.
They give you complex carbohydrates, fiber, a bunch of nutrients. And they're versatile. You can use them in breakfast bowls, salads, stir-fry soups.
Endless possibilities.
Endless.
Sounds like a great way to break out of your culinary routine.
Yeah, and try new things.
Okay, so we've covered grocery shopping, restaurants, mindful eating at home.
Right.
What about social situations where, bread is kind of unavoidable?
Oh, yeah, like a dinner party or a family gathering.
Exactly.
It's about balance. You don't have to deprive yourself.
Right.
If your host has made something delicious that includes bread, have a small portion and enjoy it mindfully.
Right. It's about making those choices and not feeling pressured to overindulge.
That's right.
And you could always bring your own dish.
You could.
Like a nice salad or some roasted vegetables.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm hoping our listener feels empowered to make their own choices about bread.
Me too.
We've talked about blood sugar spikes and mindful eating and even whipping up bread alternatives.
It's been a journey.
What are your final thoughts?
I think the big takeaway is this. You now understand the benefits and the downsides of bread.
Right.
The different types of bread and the power of mindful eating.
Whether you choose to embrace bread limit or try alternatives.
Yeah.
There's no one right answer.
That's right.
It's all about what works for you and makes you feel your best.
And don't underestimate the impact of small changes. Every mindful bite, every time you read a label, every healthy swap you make, it adds up.
It's about finding a lifestyle that you enjoy.
Exactly.
So go forth, experiment, explore, and savor all the delicious possibilities.
Yes, and most importantly, enjoy your food.
Happy eating.
Happy eating.
Until next time, keep diving deep.